Okay, 3.3 is percentiles and box and whisker plots. Percentile is a value that describes the percent of data that fall at or below it. So the 70th percentile is where 70% of the data fall at or below the value. So you took an English achievement test to obtain college credit in freshman English by examination. If your score is at the 89th percentile, what percentage of scores are at or below yours? That would be then 89%. For B, it says if the scores range from 1 to 100 and your raw score is 95, does that necessarily mean that your score is at the 95th percentile? No, that does not. Because there could be many of you that scored 95, so you would not necessarily be at the 95th percentile. Whereas sometimes, depending on taking a test, maybe not a lot of people did very well, and you had a score of 95, but you might be in the 99th percentile because you scored so much better than everybody else. So it's in relevance of what other scores are, not what necessarily your raw score is, but where you stand compared to everybody else. You're looking at the percent for that. Your quartiles are percentiles divided into fourth. So your quarter 1 is your 25th, the second, which is your median, is your 50th, and the third quarter is your 75th. To compute your quartiles, you have to order them from smallest to largest. You're going to find the median, and then you find the median of the lower half and the median of the upper half for your Q1, Q3. Your interquartile range is subtracting your Q3 minus your Q1. Now, before I get onto all this about how to solve it by hand, yes, your calculator does find all of those data values for you too. So I'm using numbers that we had back in 3.2 on my calculator. So if I know I have numbers in my L1, because you always have to put numbers into L1. If you don't have any numbers in, if I go to edit, here's my L1. Those are all my numbers. So if I want to find my quartiles and my medians, what I would do is do stat over to calc, just like we have. One var stats, just like we've been doing. Go down to calculate. Now, on my list here, if you scroll down, you see min Q1, median Q3, max. They are giving you the 5 numbers that you will need when we make box and whisker plots, which you'll see in the next couple examples. We'll do that. Your min through your max there is called your 5-number summary. Again, we will get to those on the next page, but I wanted to show you that the calculator does find it all for you. Yes, you have to type in all of your numbers into L1, but you could always use your calculator to check it too. So as long as you have a list of numbers, it will tell you what your min, your Q1, your median, Q3, and your max is. Now here for our example 10, what we first have to find is our median. If there's 27 numbers, you got to think, what's half of 27? So half of 27 should give us then about 13, 14, somewhere there in the middle. So what you're going to do is count 13 from the left, 13 from the right, and find your middle number. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I count 13 from the other way, you'll see that you have a number that's not in either group. That 0.80 is not in either one of those groups. So that is your median. Now, our median wasn't in either of the 13s because it was 27. If there was an even number, we would have to add the 2 middle numbers and divide by 2. Now, if I want to find Q1, what you're going to do is count how many numbers there are from 0.46, and you're not going to include the second 0.80. So where I drew that green line there, you're going to add those numbers, or count, I should say, not add, count. Count those numbers. So if I count those numbers, there are 13 of them. You have to find the middle of those 13 numbers. So the middle of 13, so 13 divided by 2 means we'd have between 6 and 7. So you have to count 6 from the left, 6 from the right to find your middle value. Our middle value then should be 0.63. So that's my Q1. Now if I want Q3, I got to do the same thing, but I can't include my median number of 0.80. So you have to count in from the third 0.80 up to 1.53. You want the middle number out of those. There are 13 of those numbers, so you want to count 6 from the left, 6 from the right. When I do that then, my middle number for those should be 1.30. So my third quartile is 1.30. Now for your interquartile range, we're going to take 1.30 minus 0.63, and we get 0.67. These numbers have to be in order first before you can find all those parts. Now you're going to do the same thing for number 10. However, there are 22 of them now. So you still want to find your medians and then find your Q1 and Q2. So pause the video, see if you can do it on your own. If you need help, you can watch after you tried, but pause it now. Okay, so you should have numbers down for A and B. So for your quartiles, if there's 22 of them, we have to count 11 left, 11 from the right. When I do that, my two middle numbers here are 209 and 234. So I need the middle number here in between them. So for my median, we're going to take 209 plus 234 and divide it by 2. So my median number then is 221.5. We need Q3 and Q1. Now remember, you don't include the median when counting. That green bar represents my median. So I actually do use 209 when I count. So you're counting from 111 to 209. You'll notice there are 11 numbers. So my middle is 5 from the left, 5 from the right, and that middle number. So my middle number is going to be that 182. Again, I include the 209 because 209 is not the median. You only include numbers that are not the exact median value. Now for our next group then, I go from 234 to 439. So if I count those, my middle number should be 319. So my Q1 should be 182. My Q3 should be 319. So when I subtract those, I take 319 minus 182, and we get 137. Now we're going to look at box and whisker plots, and that's going to use what I told you about, that 5-number summary. So again, if you look over here on your calculator, or on my calculator on the screen, the min through the max is your 5-number summary. So the min is your lowest, your max is your highest value. Box and whisker plot is just a way to show all this information. Now for example 11, we're going to use your answers back here from your you try 10. So not from this. There you go. So we're going to use your answers from that. So the smallest number from that list was 111. So your min is 111. Next, you move to your Q1. We found Q1, and Q1 was 182. Then we found the median, And our median was 221.5. Then we have our Q3. We found that to be 319. And then the max is the highest number, which was 439. Again, I'm taking all of that from your You Try 10 that you just did on your own. Now, you need all of those numbers to make this box and whisker plot. When you make a box and whisker plot, make sure you still put down your title. So what we're looking at from your You Try 10 were calories and vanilla flavored ice cream bars. You're going to take your 5-number summary and you're going to plot those 5 points. When you plot them, you do not plot them on the number line you're going to draw, but you are going to draw a number line. You have to start with a number that is smaller than your min. So my min is 111. I'm going to start at 100. You can go up by however much you want to go up. I'm going to go up by 50. And now we're going to plot points. So 111, you're going to plot it above, not on your graph. So 111 is about right there. First quadrant, or first quartile is 182. So we're going to go and do 182. Then I've got 221.5, 319, and 439. Again, dots don't have to be perfect. Now what you're going to do is connect your outside 2 dots. Those are your whiskers. Now we're going to draw a box. There you go. That includes your other 2 points. So the box should go around those 2 points. You should have a bar in the middle there to represent your median. So the line does not go through your box. The box goes around your first quartile and your third quartile. And then you have a straight line there through your median. Now we can also look at box and whisker plots to find information. So here I have the Renata College Development Office sent salary surveys to alumni who graduated 2 and 5 years ago. The voluntary responses received are summarized in the box and whisker plots shown. So if you look at your 2 tables there, they want you to look at the 2 years, so the one on the left, estimate the median and the extreme values of salaries, and what is the range for the middle half of the salaries. So if you look at your picture, median's your bar. So if you look at your picture, the median should be about 44,000 there. Then they want the extremes. So they want to know what's the lowest, what's the highest. The lowest looks to be about 33 because it's kind of in the middle there. The highest looks to be about 54. Now, the answer should be in thousands of dollars. So if you tell me they only make $33 to $54, that does not sound like a very good salary for those graduating 2 years ago. Now for the middle, they want to know what are your numbers that make up your box. So the lowest number for your box is 40,000. The highest number for your box looks to be about 47,000. So I want you to pause and try part B. You're doing the same thing, but look at part B and see if you can read for your median, your extremes, and your middle. Okay, so you should have numbers for medians, extremes, and the middle. So let's compare. Your median should be 47,000. Your extremes should be 34,000 to 58,000. And then the middle should be 41,000 to 50,000. Again, all of that was read from your picture and looking at where the boxes and where the ends matched up with the side of your number line.